Hello, I'm Annette Young and welcome to the 51%, a show about women reshaping our world, coming up. Despite abortion being legal in Spain, a number of doctors in the public system still refuse to carry out the procedure, calling themselves conscientious objectors. Their stance forcing women to use private clinics. We head to Kibera in the Kenyan city of Nairobi, which is Africa's largest urban slum, and where women outnumber men as they struggle to exit a life of poverty. Plus, we meet the Lebanese gay female stand-up comic who has no fear when it comes to breaking taboos. But we begin in Spain, where some 100,000 abortions are carried out each year. In theory, terminations are a right under Spanish law, but in practice, a number of women face obstacles when they choose to terminate a pregnancy. This as the doctors carrying out the procedures say they are stigmatised by their pro-life colleagues, as our team on the ground report.
For this Spanish woman, getting an abortion proved a nightmare. A few years ago, she lived in the Canary Islands in Lanzarote. There wasn't a single clinic on the island of 150,000 residents that would carry out an abortion.
I had to go to a clinic on another island, on Gran Canaria, because it wasn't possible in Lanzarote. I didn't tell anyone. So that I didn't suffer repercussions at work, I had to take a day's holiday.
It's a common situation in the Canary Islands, but also throughout the rest of Spain. Out of 50 provinces across the country, no abortions are carried out in 11. A postcode lottery affecting millions of women.
I felt I was being laughed at. The right to a safe, legal and free abortion should be guaranteed no matter where you live, or at least wherever there's a health centre. If someone finds it difficult to access a right, it's not a right at all, it's a privilege.
Only 15% of abortions are carried out in public clinics. The vast majority of doctors cite a conscience clause to not perform terminations. These pro-life demonstrators defend the common use of that clause.
It's a fundamental right, the right to respect for religious beliefs. In public medicine, lots of professionals think you shouldn't harm fetuses.
The socialist government is studying the possibility of creating a list of conscientious objectors. They want to ensure enough doctors to guarantee the right to an abortion throughout Spain. A list criticised by the doctors and students here. Most of them are women.
I speak for most of the health professionals. Don't draw up a list of conscientious objectors because you won't have enough ink.
The situation means 200 private clinics are subsidised to perform about 85% of abortions. This centre was the first to carry out terminations in Spain.
Vale, la fecha de la última regla, ¿cuándo ha sido?
Sonia Lamas works here as a psychologist. She says doctors receive too little training on carrying out abortions, training which is supposed to be obligatory.
Sabemos que ninguna comunidad autónoma en España.
No Spanish region is training its health professionals, and the new generation isn't trained to take over duties.
Problema de relevo generacional.
She says professionals who work in abortion clinics are stigmatised.
It would be very difficult if I wanted to move out of this specialism because my CV would be tainted. There's a stigma attached to helping perform abortions.
Until now, pro-life protest groups have often been present outside clinics as women in vulnerable situations arrive for abortions. The most active, the Catholic group 40 Days for Life, who stand outside the buildings during Lent. Mercedes Abad turns up when she can.
We don't come here to harass or to talk to the clinic's workers, the mothers, or those who accompany them. We just come to pray. That's the most powerful weapon we have.
The group is active in 8 cities. On this day, the members were pleased with the results of their protest.
España hemos salvado, gracias a Dios, 8 vidas con sus respectivas madres.
But the Spanish parliament has now criminalised such tactics. Those who use them will face up to a year behind bars. The new law means one less obstacle for Spanish women who need an abortion.
Now, Kibera is the largest slum in the Kenyan city of Nairobi and the largest urban slum in Africa. It's also where there are 116 women for every 100 men. Our team reports on why women are struggling more than men to find a way out of poverty.
Hello.
Helen makes calls every morning looking for a job. She's a single mother who lives with two of her children.
They gave me even 150 or 200, but you do big job, but small money.
With less than €2 a day, it's impossible to get out of poverty. It's barely enough to pay her rent.
This house is 2,000. I cannot afford to go in the hospital and pay this rent and school fee and whatever. That's why I lose my hope.
Nairobi hosts 60% of the country's informal settlements, including Kibera, where for every 100 men, there are 116 women. This community organization blames the imbalance on a patriarchal culture.
In this society, we give birth when we are young. So you are a kid and you have a kid, like from 15 years, people are giving birth. You see, but the man has that privilege. They will go and look for a job and find. A man who is 15 years is capable of completing their school, even if they are fathers, but a woman will stay at home. So we have so many challenges that brings the woman back.
Kenya's 2010 constitution emphasizes gender equality, but today, women still face greater disadvantages. Jana Oko is running for a seat in Nairobi's county assembly. She says the country needs more women in power.
We have a lot of resources. If you go to our women rep or even the MP, they have a Uwezo fund, they have the women fund. But does this fund really go to the woman at the ground? Somebody must stand in and ensure that what belongs to the local woman comes to the local woman.
The 2021 World Economic Forum's Global Gender Gap Report shows that if things continue as they are, it may take Kenya roughly 138 years to achieve gender parity.
And finally, we head to Lebanon to meet a stand-up comic who has no fear in poking fun at religion, politics or homosexuality. Shaden Fakir, who's openly gay, refuses to shy away from topics that are often considered taboo in Arab society.
This may be comedy, but it's not all light-hearted giggles. It's through the lens of stand-up that Shaden Fakir is able to bear her true self. She speaks openly about being gay and is unapologetically blunt about other taboos in Lebanese society.
In stand-up comedy, I am myself, though with a performance for sure. I am living my absolute truth within my convictions, be it my view of religion, my view of existence, my view of society, my view of sex, my experience in sex, or my experience as a lesbian woman. I don't want to hide myself.
Tonight's show has gone well. For some in the audience, Fakir's comedy is a vehicle for change, while others are a little taken aback.
It's controversial a bit, but it's a very nice show.
She's raising awareness on issues we have in Arab societies, but in a humorous way. She doesn't come attacking people and saying, "You were wrong." No, she's making you laugh about it, so that you realize on some level that you are doing something wrong.
While it's home to one of the most vibrant feminist scenes in the Arab region, Lebanon has one of the highest overall gender gaps in the world. The labour force participation rate for women stands at 29%. According to a UN report, some 2/3 of women have experienced sexual harassment in public spaces, while spousal violence stands at around 25%. With 65,000 followers on social media, Shaden Fakir is spreading new ideas to a wide audience, normalising a different kind of voice for women in the country's still male-dominated world of comedy.
And that's it for this edition. You can get in touch and keep up with the 51% on Facebook, Instagram or Twitter, and you can watch all our previous shows on France 24 website. So until our next program, bye for now.